Everyone seems to love SUVs, and hybrids, plug-in hybrids, electric vehicles, those are the cars of the future. But at the moment, no one has really put the two together. The majority of SUVs are still petrol or diesel. Hybrids are there, but not there in the way that petrol and diesel are. Mitsubishi is one of the ones that have, and they've been building the Outlander PHEV for more than 5 years now. This is the new Outlander PHEV, and it's got an all-new engine, it's got a new electric motor, it's got a stiffer body, it's got bigger brakes, it's got better suspension, and quite a bit more. Now make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you visit newmotoring.com, and make sure you click on the little bell icon next to our channel name, because then every time we upload a new video, you'll get a little notification. We don't want to get lost amongst the YouTube noise. I don't think you do either. Well, I hope you don't. Now today, as you might be able to tell by the fact that it's actually sunny for once, I'm in France. I'm in the south of France on the international launch of the Outlander PHEV, and this is a very early first drive. Now from the outside at least, this looks pretty much identical to the old Outlander PHEV. Mitsubishi says it's put some new front LED lights on it, it's changed the front bumper, the back bumper, it's given it some new wheels, but for the most part, it looks the same. Inside, it is a very similar story. Everything looks pretty much exactly the same as it used to. There's new leather, there are new, more supportive seats, and you've got two actual plugs in the car so you can charge your laptop, charge your phone, or boil a kettle if you really wanted to. But the real changes are underneath. First of all, the engine. The 2-litre 4-cylinder engine of old has been replaced by a new 2.4-litre 4-cylinder engine. And the way they work is very different. They burn fuel in different ways. And this, the new 2.4-litre, is supposed to be more efficient as part of a hybrid package, even though it's a larger capacity. As for the electric motors, the front motor still powers the front wheels, and the rear motor still powers the rear wheels. You've got a permanent all-wheel drive system. Now Mitsubishi says that this is an EV first and a hybrid second. So the engine will only turn on and power the generator if the batteries are running low, or if you tell it to, or if you put your foot all the way to the floor. If you need maximum power, and then the engine will power the front wheels as well as the electric motor at the front, and the electric motor at the back will just do what it's doing. It will still power the rear wheels. The front motor is exactly the same as it was before, but the generator and the rear motor have larger capacities. They have larger outputs. Now, because of the way the engine and the electric motors work, they never produce their peak outputs at the same time. So explaining the figures is, well, I can't just give a headline power figure, headline torque figure. It just doesn't work that way. The engine produces 135 PS, so just under 135 brake horsepower, and it also produces 156 pounds-feet of torque. That's up from 121 PS and 140 pounds-feet of torque. The rear motor, the one that's been updated, that produces 95 PS rather than 82, and the batteries, they're in the middle of the car, their output is up from 12 kilowatt hours to 13.8 kilowatt hours. How does it drive? Well, the experience is much the same, but you can feel little differences. There is definitely more electric shove, and the engine as well, when you're at higher speeds, sounds quite a bit quieter actually. It's also ever so slightly faster. 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 10.5 seconds as opposed to 10.8 seconds, and the top speed in EV mode alone has gone up from 77 miles an hour to 84 miles an hour, and the top speed overall is 106 miles an hour. Now the electric range, the CO2 figure and the MPG figure, they're all worse than they used to be, but it's not necessarily because the car is worse, it's just because the way cars are tested now has changed. The tests are now more accurate and they're supposed to be more representative of the real world, which is good. This new Outlander PHEV produces 46 grams of CO2 per kilometre, and it will run on electric power only for 28 miles. What's cool though is that not only are those figures hopefully more accurate than they used to be, but Mitsubishi has put a system into the car that will not only cool the batteries, which it used to do before, but will actually heat the batteries up. So in cold temperatures, the electric range doesn't just drop off, because batteries are affected massively by temperature changes. High temperatures, low temperatures, your range is going to fluctuate hugely. So by introducing that system, your range in different circumstances and different temperatures, winter, summer, should be more consistent. It has more power and more performance because customers ask for a sharper driving experience, but Mitsubishi is very clear that this is not a sports car. I think we could probably tell that already. You can feel that behind the wheel. The dampers have been tuned, the electric power steering is slightly faster, the brakes are bigger, the body is stiffer overall, but still, this is not a car you want to push particularly hard. It's on economy orientated tyres, so if you push hard into a corner, the traction control and the stability control will just shut the power down. And while the steering might be a bit sharper than it used to be, it's still not particularly communicative. It's not light either. It weighs 1,880 kilos, which isn't too heavy really for a hybrid actually, and considering the size of the car and what you get. But if you stripped away the electric motors, the batteries, the generator, it would weigh less. It is heavier than a normal SUV, and you can feel that weight behind the wheel. But at normal road speeds, driving this car the way it's supposed to be driven, i.e. for economy, it's comfortable, it's definitely a little bit quieter, and the body does feel more rigid. It feels more solid somehow. What's interesting about the Outlander PHEV behind the wheel is that it is involving in different ways. It's more involving than some other plug-in hybrids. Like behind the wheel you've got paddles, and they're nothing to do with a gearbox because this doesn't actually have a gearbox as such. The paddles are to do with regenerative braking. So you can choose, you can go through 6 different settings and choose how aggressively the regenerative braking system works, how much energy you get when you lift off the throttle. So in theory, you could do journeys every single day and you would never have to use the brake because you could just use the paddles. You could say, I want less regenerative braking here, I want a bit more here because I'm going down a steep hill. Although obviously I'm not advising that you do a whole journey without using your brakes. If you need to use your brakes, still use your brakes. And you can tell the car when you want the engine to turn on and power the generator and therefore recharge the batteries. If you know that you're approaching a city soon, for example, and you want to make sure you have enough charge to drive through the city on EV power alone. There's just more to do in this than there are in a lot of other hybrids. There's more to think about, and it's a bit more engaging because of that. And new for this model, there's a snow mode and a sport mode. Snow mode is obviously for when you're in low grip conditions. It changes the way the all-wheel drive system works. Obviously today in the south of France I haven't had a chance to try that snow mode. The other mode is a sport mode, and what it does is sharpen up the throttle both when the engine is on and when it's just in EV power, and you can feel it and it's nice to have that option, but if I'm honest I probably wouldn't go near it. All in all, while it looks the same, small changes everywhere have made this a stronger package. Drive the two back to back and they do feel different. Would you buy an Outlander PHEV? Let me know in the comments below. And would you like a new Mitsubishi Evo? Also, let me know in the comments below. I really would.